Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Sri Radha Madhava ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Astotra Satasishima Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Astotra Satasishima Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki Prem Sri Kohostri Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Sri Mayapur Dham ki Jai Sri Navadvip Dham ki Jai Sri Jagannath Puri Dham ki Jai ISKCON Dwarka ki Jai The Lord Sri Lord Jagannath Baladev Subhadraji ki Lord Sri Gauranitai ki Lordship Shri Rukmini Dwarkadis ki jai, Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Yamuna Mai Ganga Mai ki jai, Transcendental Book Distribution ki, Prasadam Distribution ki, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. So today we're reading from the third canto, chapter 28, Kapila's instructions on devotional service. And the text is the text is 23, right? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from this is text 23. Translation and purport by Srivana Prabhupada. Okay, let me see 23. jānu-dvayaṁ jalaja-locanayā jananyā lakṣmyākhilasya sura-vanditayā vidhātuḥ ūrvor nidhāya kara-pallava-rociṣā saṁlālitam hṛdi vibhor abhavasya kuryāt jānu-dvayam jalaja-locanayā jananyā lakṣmyākhilasya sura-vanditayā vidhātuḥ ūrvor nidhāya kara-pallava-rociṣā saṁlālitam hṛdi vibhor abhavasya kuryāt jānu-dvayam jalaja-locanayā jananyā lakṣmyākhilasya sura-vanditayā vidhātuḥ ūrvor nidhāya kara-pallava-rociṣā saṁlālitam hṛdi vibhor abhavasya kuryāt jānu-dvayam jananyā ūrvor nidhāya kara-pallava-rociṣā saṁlālitam hṛdi vibhor abhavasya kuryāt jānu-dvayam jalaja-locanayā jananyā lakṣmyākhilasya sura-vanditayā vidhātuḥ ūrvor nidhāya kara-pallava-rociṣā saṁlālitam hṛdi vibhor abhavasya kuryāt jānu-dvayam jalaja-locanayā jananyā lakṣmyākhilasya sura-vanditayā vidhātuḥ ūrvor nidhāya kara-pallava-rociṣā saṁlālitam hṛdi vibhor abhavasya Vaishnavis. Jānu-dvayam jananyā lakṣmyākhilasya sura-vanditayā vidhātuḥ ūrvor nidhāya kara-pallava-rociṣā jānu-dvayam jalaja-locanayā jananyā lakṣmyākhilasya sura-vanditayā vidhātuḥ ūrvor nidhāya kara-pallava-rociṣā saṁlālitam hṛdi vibhor abhavasya kuryāt. Word by word. Jānu-dvayam, up to the knees. Jālaja-locanayā, lotus-eyed. jananyā, mother, lakṣmyā, by Lakṣmī, akhilasya, of the entire universe, sura-vanditayā, worshipped by the demigods, vidhātuḥ, O Brahmā, ūrvoḥ, at the heights, nidhāya, having placed kara-pallava-rociṣā with her lustrous fingers, yat, which saṁlālitam, massage, hṛdi, in the heart, vibhor, of the Lord, abhavasya, transcendental to material existence, kuryāt, one should meditate. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The yogī should fix in his heart the activities of Lakṣmī, the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by all demigods and is the mother of the Supreme Person, Brahmā. She can always be found massaging the legs and thighs of the transcendental Lord, very carefully serving him in this way. Purport: Brahmā is the appointed Lord of the universe because his father is Garbhodakasaya Vishnu. Lakṣmī, the goddess of fortune, is automatically his mother. Lakṣmī is worshipped by all demigods and by the inhabitants of other planets as well. Human beings are also eager to receive favor from the goddess of fortune. Lakṣmī is always engaged in massaging the legs and thighs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, who is lying on the ocean of Garbha within the universe. Brahmā is described here as the son of the goddess of fortune, but actually he was not born of her womb. Brahmā takes his birth from the abdomen of the Lord himself. A lotus flower grows from the abdomen of Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, and Brahmā is born there. Therefore, Lakṣmī's massaging of the thighs of the Lord should not be taken as the behavior of an ordinary wife. The Lord is transcendental to the behavior of the ordinary male and female. The word abhavasya is very significant, for it indicates that he could produce Brahmā without the assistance of the goddess of fortune. Since transcendental behavior is different from mundane behavior, it should not be taken that the Lord receives service from his wife, just as a demigod or human being might receive service from his wife. It is advised here that the yogis always keep this picture in his heart. The devotee always thinks of this relationship between Lakṣmī and Narayan. Therefore, he does not meditate on the mental plane of impersonalists and voidists too. Bhava means one who accepts a material body, and abhava means one who does not accept a material body, but descends in the original spiritual body. Lord Narayana is not born of anything material. Matter is generated from matter, but he is not born of matter. Brahmā is born after the creation, but since the Lord existed before the creation, the Lord has no material body. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Gaur Govinda Swami Iti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyade Satarine Mukhaṁ karoti vachalam pangulangayate giri Yat kripatamaham vande Sri Gurun Dinatarinam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, Kapila's instructions on devotional service, and at the beginning, from previous chapters, Lord Kapila Dev is preparing all transcendentalists or those who are aspiring for devotional service. And he was mentioning about the process of Astanga Yoga, sitting straight, the breathing, pranayam, niyam, yama, niyama, asana, dharana, samadhi. All this just to do what? To fix your mind. Because after you do all that, what happens? Your mind is supposed to be calm. And when your mind is calm, at that moment you qualify, you're able to focus in what? In the form of Lord Krishna. So then, fixing the mind in Krishna is like the culmination of all these different processes. And right now we're seeing two verses previous to that one, this one, is mentioned about the lotus feet, the lotus feet. And right now we're at the Pada Sevana. So Lakṣmī is the embodiment of Pada Sevana, of the 9 kinds of devotional service that we perform. Pada Sevana is one of them. And we know Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Atma Nivedanam. And each one of these particular items of devotional service has it gives us love for Krishna, or Krishna Prema. If we would just focus in one of them, what to speak if you do 2 or 3? Which sometimes, we're all surrounded with all those 9 processes, practically speaking. But again, we see the practitioners sometimes focus just in one, and that's very good. Of course, it should be always accompanied with Nam Kirtan. Nam Kirtan should be there. You can focus in one particular item of devotional service, but you just focus, but the Harinam Sankirtan has to be there. So it's interesting, now we're talking about Pada Sevanam, or the lotus feet, and this brings some memories. When I just recently came to Krishna consciousness, everything was about the lotus feet. And for someone who's Westerner, we're not accustomed to hear about the feet, about the touching the feet of the person, or what to speak of, like bathe in it, and then not only that, but you drink the water of that, and it's like all that. It's like it's so strange for us. For someone who's born in India, this is normal. It's the tradition, it's the culture. Even if you're not religious or really going to the temple all the time, you just know that the grandparents are doing that. That's fine. But for us, it's like everything is around the lotus feet, And it's, Prabhu, please send my home to your lotus feet. And it's like, not only the lotus feet, but the feet, but the lotus. And it's like, lotus feet, a flower? What is this? Okay, the lotus. Why a lotus? And not only that, but after that also the shoes. It's like, wow, there's one item more that you have to deal with. It's like now, the shoes too? Yeah, carry the shoes. You pay obeisance to the shoes of the Lord. So all these things have a great meaning behind, very deep meaning. Unfortunately for us, Westerners, we don't know. We're not trained up. So, yeah. Actually, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained, Tatsra dadana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya pasyanti admana Pasyantad manichatma mani bhaktyagrahyam bhaktya srutam grihitaya. That person who is the seriously student, he says, the seriously student who is equipped with detachment and renunciation, that person, he said, performs devotional service. How? He says, by hearing from all the Vedic literatures, from all the Shrutis, Vedic literatures. So when you have all this knowledge behind, then it becomes clear. Oh, I see. Now I can understand. So, yes. And this is nothing new, it's nothing invented, it's nothing concocted, it's all based on authority, it's all based on Krishna, ultimately. And it's amazing because Krishna himself, this is astonishing, you know. Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one time, in the Krishna book, it is related, of course, previous to that I will mention something else. In the Krishna book, we heard the story of Sudama Brahma. You know, Sudama Brahma comes to see him, and Krishna worships him. It's natural, he's a sadhu, he's a brahmana, and he's a friend. He's honoring him. He's touching his feet, bathing his feet. That's, you know, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is having some loving reciprocation with his devotees. But what it came astonishment to me was that when I was reading the part where the Rajasuya sacrifice is going to be performed, and all the great personalities, kings and sages and mystics, they come, and everybody was assigned to do one particular service. Like Duryodhana, he was in charge of the treasure department, and Karna was in charge of the charity department, and Bhima, he was in charge of the cooking department, and Arjuna was in charge of the, you know, hosting the guests and looking after their accommodation. That was good. But guess what? Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can anybody guess what was his service? Yes. What is the other one? Yeah. The shoes. He was bathing the feet of the guests, and it was like, wow, bathing all these personalities. He's the greatest. He's the topmost, and he's bathing and picking up the shoes. Okay, so then if you go deeper to that, you say, well, why is that? Because it's a loving reciprocation with his devotee, King Yudhishthira, who was the emblem of Dharma, and he wanted him to be established as a king. He himself, out of love and affection, he's doing that for his devotee. Amazing. And now on the other side, we have Yudhishthira Maharaj. He doesn't want just to be like glorified and be the king, the Rajasuya, like, you know, nowadays can be like that. You know, and want to be a king and prove that you're like the greatest. No. He actually had in mind other things. He wanted to glorify the Lord. All these great sages, demigods, saintly persons who came to see him was just to show him that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he was the one who actually was nominated as the greatest personality too. They have to choose someone there. So that happened. So in that way we understand how even Krishna himself had to, you know, show us about how important it is to, you know, the lotus feet, or the devotee of the lotus feet. So also there is one verse in the what is the Samasritaye kara-pallava-rociṣā mahat pada punya yaso murare babambudir vatsa param padam 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 tasam. So in that verse it is mentioned that for that person who takes the boat to the Lord, the feet of the Lord, who are compared to a boat, where in which the whole cosmic manifestation takes shelter, this ocean of miseries, all this ocean of troubles and difficulties can be easily crossed. How is that? And then it is explained that just like the calf hoof prints, of course we don't see here, but in India, if you go or you're in the land, the cows, they step on the earth and it's muddy. You can see there ponds, little water. You step over that. That example is given. So the devotee of the Lord actually, he by taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, all these troubles, all these difficulties, whatever you had is like nothing. Why? Because his focus, his goal is Vaikuntha, the place where there's no anxiety, no miseries, no lamentation, nothing like that. So that's another teaching there. And in the I think Prahlad Maharaj also, he has a beautiful prayer where he mentions that what is that? Mahiyya sampado rayo abhishekam niskincha nanasya viskincha nanasya janana nivad, where he mentions that one should bathe with the dust of the lotus feet of the devotee on your head. If you don't smear your body with the dust of the pure devotee, who actually is free from all those material desires, then there's no chance for you to advance in the spiritual life. So, again, this is great teachings for us. You can make a big, like a recollect from all different parts of the scriptures about the lotus feet. You can make hundreds of books just describing the glorious, how glorious the lotus feet of the pure devotee are. And of course, this is because they are in relation to Krishna. That's the whole point. Krishna is the center. Mother Kunti Devi also, she has some beautiful prayer who says, "Oh Krishna, Gadadhara, Krishna." She says, you have imprinted in our kingdom your lotus feet. And therefore, our kingdom is flourishing, is beautiful, is nice. But what's going to happen when you leave? It will not be so. So she's like trying to say, don't go, stay here always. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, like, from that verse, that actually, so just like in Vrindavan also the gopis, it says that actually Krishna never puts one step out of Vrindavan. And then someone will say, yeah, but Krishna left. He left. He didn't come back. How is it that statement, that he never steps out of Vrindavan? So also the same way, Kunti Devi, don't go. Krishna, stay here. And then this Prabhupada mentions, no, he didn't leave. And then you go, wait a minute, he didn't leave? He actually left. But the explanation is given by the acharyas that what did the gopis, Nanda Maharaj, Yasoda, the cowherd boys, the cows, and all those living entities who were attached to Krishna, they felt the presence because their only service was crying and lamenting for Krishna, so his presence was right there. So in that sense, he never left. In a similar way with the Pandavas, he didn't leave because they were in constantly, thoughts of Krishna. So then Srila Prabhupada makes it so beautiful in his explanation. He says, so similarly, ourselves, we should ask Krishna to come to our life. Krishna, please enter here, be present, so everything can be beautiful. So that's the description of the beauty of Krishna. Put Krishna in the center, everything will be fine. And I want to share something really nice from you that is about Chaitanya Charitamrita, a devotee who achieved the most amazing description of his, how much he wanted to grab the lotus feet of the Lord and attain the supreme perfection. Please bear with me and this is going to be a. I feel I'm very, how do you say, like that is like uneasy because it's not very. It's not fair for you to hear just one portion, but because of the factor time, I just choose one little portion of this. This is the passing of Haridas Thakur. Translation. One day, Govinda, the personal servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, went in great jubilation to deliver the remnants of Lord Jagannath's food to Haridas Thakur. Translation. When Govinda came to Haridas, he saw that Haridas Thakur was lying on his back and chanting his round very slowly. Translation. Please rise and take your Mahaprasadam, Govinda said. Haridas Thakur replied, today I shall observe fasting. I have not finished chanting my regular number of rounds. How then can I eat? But you have brought Mahaprasadam, and how can I neglect it? Translation. Saying this, he offered prayers to the Mahaprasadam, took a little portion and ate it. Translation. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Haridas' place and inquired from him, Haridas, are you well? Translation. Haridas offered his obeisances to the Lord and replied, my body is all right, but my mind and intelligence are not well. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further inquired from Haridas, can you ascertain what your disease is? Haridas Thakur replied, my disease is that I cannot complete my rounds. Translation. Now that you have become old, the Lord said, you may reduce the number of rounds you can chant, the number of rounds you chant daily. You are already liberated, and therefore you need not follow the regulative principles very strictly. Translation. Your role in this incarnation is to deliver the people in general. You have sufficiently preached the glories of the holy name in this world. Text 26. Translation. The Lord concluded, now, therefore, please reduce the fixed number of times you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Haridas Thakur replied, kindly hear my plea. Kindly hear my real plea. Translation. I was born in an inferior family and my body is most abominable. I always engage in low work. Therefore, I am the lowest, most condemned of men. I am unseeable and untouchable, but you have accepted me as your servant. This means that you have delivered me from all hellish condition and raised me to the Vaikuntha platform. Translation. My dear Lord, you are the fully independent personality of Godhead. You act by your own free will. You cause the whole world to dance and act as you like. Translation. My dear Lord, by your mercy you have made me dance in many ways. For example, I was offered the Sraddha Patra, which should have been offered to first-class Brahmanas. I ate it from it, even though I was born in a family of meat-eaters. Translation. I have had one desire for a very long time. I think that quite soon, my Lord, you will bring to a close your pastimes within this material world. Text 32. Translation. I wish that you now show me this closing chapter of your pastimes before that time comes. Kindly let my body fall down in your presence. Translation. I wish to catch your lotus feet upon my heart and see your moonlight face. With my tongue, I shall chant your holy names, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. That is my desire. Kindly let me give up my body in this way. Translation. O most merciful Lord, if by your mercy it is possible, kindly grant my desire. Translation. Let this low-born body fall down before you. You can make possible this perfection of all my desires. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my dear Haridas, Krishna is so merciful that he must execute whatever you want. Translation. But whatever happiness is mine is all due to your association. It is not befitting for you to go away and leave me behind. catching the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Haridas Thakur said, "My Lord, do not create an illusion. Although I am so fallen, you must certainly show me this mercy." Translation: My Lord, there are many respectable personalities, millions of devotees who are fit to sit on my head. They are all helpful in your pastimes. Translation: My Lord, if an insignificant insect like me dies, what is the loss? If an ant dies, what is the loss to the material world? Translation: My Lord, you are always affectionate to your devotees. I'm just an imitation devotee, but nevertheless, I wish that you fulfill my desire. That is my expectation. Translation: Because he had to perform his noon duties, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up to leave, but it was settled that the following day, after he saw Lord Jagannath, he would return to visit Haridas Thakur. Translation: After embracing him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left to perform his noon duties and went to the sea to take his bath. Translation: The next morning, after visiting the Jagannath temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, accompanied by all the devotees, went hastily to see Haridas Thakur. Translation: Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the devotees came before Haridas Thakur, who offered his respects to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the Vaishnavas. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, "My dear Haridas, what is the news?" Haridas Thakur replied, "My Lord, whatever mercy you can bestow upon me." Translation: Upon hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately began great congregational chanting in the kuryāt. Vakreshwara Pandit was the chief dancer. Translation: Headed by Swarup Damodar Goswami, all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu surrounded Haridas Thakur and began congregational chanting. Translation: In front of all the great devotees like Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to describe the holy attributes of Haridas Thakur. As he described the transcendental attributes of Haridas Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seemed to possess 5 mouths. The more he described, the more great happiness increased. After hearing of the transcendental qualities of Haridas Thakur, all the devotees present were struck with wonder. They all offered their respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sit down in front of him, and then he fixed his eyes like 2 bumblebees on the lotus feet of the Lord. Translation: He held the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his heart, and then took the dust of the feet of all the devotees present and put it on his head. He began to chant the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya again and again. As he drank the sweetness of the face of the Lord, tears constantly glided down from his eyes. While chanting the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya gave up his air. While chanting the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, he gave up his air of life and left his body. Wow. Haribol. Haridas Thakur ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gora Premanande, Hari Haribol. Hare Krishna.